Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Shamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Tuesday, December 19th of 2023. Thanks so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful start to your week and a wonderful holiday season. Yes. Regardless of whatever holiday that you celebrate, or even if you don't celebrate the holidays during this time, hopefully you're having a wonderful holiday in the 2023 season. Yesterday, when I started making this video, Mercury was an exact trine to Jupiter, and then today we have the Moon that's on like exactly conjunct Neptune. When I start this video, don't know how that happened, but in any event, let's see what we got going on today. Well, like I said, we have the Moon on top of Neptune right now, so the day starts off with that. Now, granted, you're not going to really feel it too long, since it's going to move rather quickly. The Moon will end up moving into Aries later on in the evening, but we do have the Moon meeting up with Neptune, and this is definitely going to be us filling into the collective subconscious, the collective unconscious, if you will, especially with this, being in square to the sun, albeit it's a 3-degree orb, so it's not super tight and the sun's moving off of it, but we're still going to feel it, especially once the moon moves past Neptune. So you're going to get this feeling where, like, feeling into this collective subconscious, this thread that's kind of like, lying beneath, the human consciousness. We're going to kind of tap into that emotionally and stuff. And then you're going to see, of course, as that moon moves forward, it will square the sun. So we got the first quarter square today that's going to be happening. And then that's going to be an interesting aspect. It's like we feel into that collective thread, and then we get like this illumination, if you will. But it's only part way. It's only half. So it's like there may be a feeling like, are we only getting half of the story? Are we only being told half of the story? What exactly is going to be revealed to us on a day like today would be pretty interesting, So it's like, I think that's the thing about this, and that may cause a little bit of frustration where we feel like we want the entirety of the thing to be revealed. We want the entirety of the truth to be revealed, whether we get disclosures from people in power, the powers that be, and shit like that, or just in your own personal life. It can kind of feel like you do get some answers today, but you're not going to get quite everything. It's like the fog starts to dissipate. You're starting to kind of get an idea of what's going on, but it doesn't quite come into full view. It's not quite fully revealed, right? So we're dealing with that today. We'll see that moon shift into Aries, around 5:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to see that happen, right? So we go from, like I said, this watery Pisces energy filling into the collective subconscious, and then the moon moving right into Aries. And this is going to be the interesting part, because then this is when people can become a little emotionally reactive if they are not, you know, checking themselves, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And depending upon the conversations that happened today or yesterday and stuff like that, when the moon comes into the spot, it can make things pretty interesting, especially the fact that the moon will be coming into a square with Mercury, which will probably happen later on in the night, but I'll be probably more so going into Wednesday, which should definitely make for some interesting dreams. But yeah, I feel like, with a day like today, just looking at it immediately, it's really going to be about that moon on Neptune, and then in square to the sun, that first, like I said, the first quarter square. And it's really kind of like we're only getting like half of the picture. And this is coming to the Pisces and Sagittarius energy, right? And I think, for you personally, what it could be is, I think about where sun is in Sag, right? So this is about your beliefs, right? It's about your beliefs, about your vision, if you will. And the fourth house to Sag is Pisces, right? So that's where this is like the fourth house is like the home, is where we feel secure, especially from an emotional standpoint, right? So it could represent childhood, if you will. So with this square right here, it's interesting. This can be a great thing. Maybe you unblock some things. Maybe you had a dream at one point, but maybe you it was blocked by something that happened in your childhood, and maybe this is a great opportunity for you to go into a meditation to kind of unblock some energy, so you can actually feel more at home, if you will, and actually bring that dream to fruition, or realize that the vision that we have, if you will, it feels at home when it's a little bit more in that etheric realm, right? That Pisces etheric mutable water realm that is unseen, has no form, no shape, right? And that's where the vision and the dream can really start to kind of come together, and we can make it be whatever we want to be, right? We don't, I mean, we only have Juno and Virgo, and then we don't have anything in Gemini to kind of juxtapose these energies. So it's going to feel very dreamy. It's going to feel very etheric. It's going to feel very non physical, if you will. Um, Especially considering the fact that we do have a Mercury in Capricorn, which is trying to really conceptualize a lot of these things and trying to see, well, okay, yeah, I know you have that vision and stuff like that, and that's cool and sounds fluffy and everything, but can we actually do something with that? Can we actually integrate that into something? Can we actually build something with the Capricorn energy? But Mercury, like I said, is retrograde, so he's like, even Mercury's gotten having to go backward. And it's going to go back into Sag, right? And then you have Pluto, of course, in Capricorn. And you already know what that's been like. Well, Pluto's just been like just wrecking shit, destroying shit, but we're still having to play the Capricorn game. It's transforming it. It's not going to just completely destroy it. It's going to have to reform that energy. And then you had Jupiter and Uranus that are retrograde over here in Taurus. Jupiter, of course, like just really waiting to go forward. Like Jupiter is like so ready to go forward. Jupiter's been playing this Taurus game, playing on the farm and shit like that, having to, you know, figure out how to get things to work on this farm, if you will. This is an interesting metaphor, right? But I mean, that's just what it is. Like Jupiter has like been like doing hard work, like chopping wood, taking care of the animals, stuff like that, and wants to expand his farm. Wants to have more acreage, if you will. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe there are other acres, outside of that farm that he could purchase, but he's got to learn how to maintain and appreciate and grow the value of what he already has, right? Instead of, it's not necessarily about the space, if you will, because I think sometimes we can just get so focused on that. We can get so focused on the space. We can get so focused on the sheer amount of something instead of focusing on the actual value of what we have. It's just like saying, like, you know, arbitrarily wanting to move from a 1,000 square foot apartment to a 2,000 square foot apartment, if those even exist, right? And is there any reason for you to do so? If you maybe you and your partner have a kid, okay, then that makes sense, right? But if there's no other real reason to move to the larger square foot apartment, unless you're just completely busting at the seams with stuff, this is honestly a time to, appreciate what you already have. Maybe even get rid of some stuff that you don't use and stuff, because there's not necessarily a reason to move to the big place at this current moment, because then we'll just have the illusion of that space will give us this idea that we're progressing in life. But unless we have like a good enough reason, and of course you're going to do what you want to do, I'm just using this as a metaphor, you know as far as the whole Jupiter energy, is that we want to move to the bigger place, we want to move to the bigger house, we want to move to the bigger thing, just because of perhaps the illusion to other people that means that we're doing better, that we are more well off, right? That we are richer. But no, that richness, that opulence is going to come more from within. That's what the show Jupiter and Taurus has been about. You can't just be so focused on what everyone else sees on the external, right? Are you rich within yourself? I was going to say, like, when it comes to a lot of the grounding energy, Juno and Virgo, all right, and when we have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn and Pluto in Cap, and Pluto's a generational planet, so Pluto's energy is going to be a little bit more subtle, right? Whereas Mercury's is not going to be as subtle, right? And then you have Jupiter and then Uranus, which are not as subtle as Pluto, but they're still a little subtle. I mean, you'll probably feel Jupiter a little bit more, but they're still, they're still pretty subtle. Mercury is still in trine to Jupiter too, even though it's weakening. That trine is weakening and stuff. But yeah, this is definitely one of those energies. It's one of those days where I think a lot of us, we can kind of feel into the collective emotion of tiredness. A lot of people are very sleepy right now. Moon starting off in Pisces. A lot of people are tired. A lot of people are worn out. A lot of people um, are just kind of going through the motions. A lot of people are just waiting for something to happen, waiting for someone to come save them, waiting for something to come fix the problem, if you will. A lot of people are just sort of like doing their best to make it through. Almost like they're hanging on by a thread. And what's weird is that thread is actually pretty damn strong because they've been hanging on by a thread for a while now, And it's like, this might be one of those times like, man, like we just hanging on by a thread. And it's like, man, we gotta let ourselves off the hook, though. You know what I mean? And this is about kind of freeing ourselves from any type of, you know, obligations that we think that we need to have, or free ourselves from any ideas that we need to be a certain way. It's time to free ourselves from that. And I think what's happening here is that because we have built up this collective belief that we have to do things a certain way, that society has to look a certain way, that now it's getting to the point where there's enough people that are questioning whether or not it really has to look like this. And as people start to drop off, there's going to be other people that are just holding on. Like, why are you dropping off? Why are you falling off this cliff? How do you even know that something's going down there that's going to catch your ass? It's like we've almost have built a collective comfort of hanging on to this cliff like this because we're so afraid to let go and let God. We're going to start to see more and more people start to let go of that ledge and then realize that they had wings the entire time and that they could just fly and soar. Let's get into the cards because, yeah, I think it's pretty much going to do it because that moon is going to square. The moon's going to square Mercury at the end of the day going into Wednesday. So if you're on the West Coast, you're going to see this, 12, 11, 10, 9. Yeah, so if you're on the West Coast, this will be happening like right before 10 o'clock, essentially, p.m. for you guys. And of course, with this square, like I said, especially with the Mercury retrograde and a moon in Aries squaring it, yeah, this could definitely be emotional outbursts and people saying things that they've been needing to say for a while. And this is going to have a lot to do with the way, this is Capricorn Aries energy. So, this is definitely going to be, this could be directed at parents, bosses, or like I said, if you're on the East Coast and stuff like that, you may start to think of things that you want to say to certain individuals. Or people may be thinking about things that they need to say to you, kind of let them off their chest. And being that this is a 4-degree square, right? So there are 4 degrees, it's Uranian in nature, so it's going to come out of left field. Some of you guys may receive like a text message today. As this energy builds up, that's just going to come way out of left field. Or you may send a message to someone that's going to be way out of left field. And it's going to have to cause, it's going to pretty much cause like a recalibration. It's like, holy shit, what in the world's going on here? So like just being on the lookout for something like that. So let's get into the cards. Let's get into the cards. I meant to get this one done earlier so I can go to work because we need change at work. But I didn't get up fast enough because I was so depressed from the Eagles losing last night. I even was like, are you even going to bother talking about the Eagles? This is even about that, man. I'm like, yeah, but can't believe they fucking lost last night. So upset about that. It is what it is. I mean, I know they're going to the playoffs, but I feel like we're going to be one and done. But I've been an Eagles fan through the thick and thin, so I'm not going to give up on them. Never will. This just sucks. I didn't come here to hear me complain about my favorite NFL football team. So y'all came here for the astrology and for the cards. Let's see what we got here. All right. Oh, interesting. We got the devil card. I feel like today is one of those days where like the devil is in the details. You know what I mean? And I feel like with a day like today, especially with the moon on Neptune and it's square to the sun, that people may kind of point at certain people and point at certain beliefs and everything like that. And like, that's the devil. That is wrong. That is bad. And I'm like, the devil is in the details. Let's see what's followed up by. We have the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups. Whenever I see this Knight of Cups, I think about someone who is going for the Holy Grail. Now, what is the Holy Grail in your life? And I think that's the thing too. I think that's like we can be. I think this could be a projection. You could with the daylight today with like the Sag Pisces energy. This is projection central, right? So it's like people may project onto you what the Holy Grail should be. Get a degree, get a good job with a 401k. Um, you know, get a very nice house, with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, right? Do this, do that, do this, do that. And I feel like this is one of those days where maybe some people start to break and chip away at those preconceived obligations and things that have been thrust upon them since birth, right? Since birth, right? I think it's interesting. Whenever I see the devil card, I think it's very interesting because a lot of times, like I said, people may take that as like a bad sign. But I really feel like this is one of those moments where it's like, what are you? There can be something that we're enticed by today, right? Maybe we're enticed by some of our appetites today that may take us down some red roads. This Knight of Cups is wanting to definitely go for something, go for the Holy Grail, and it's super like passionate about this, but we have to ask ourselves too, is this something that we authentically want, or is this something that is being projected upon us and we think we want it? Bottom of the deck is the Four of Pentacles. So this is something like you need to hold fast to what is valuable to you. Now, the Four of Pentacles, usually when I see it, I'm thinking of someone that's hoarding something. But the Four of Pentacles, in this sense, hold fast to your value. Hold fast to what you know is true for you. And regardless of what other people may project onto you, whether it lines up with what you value or not, hold fast to what you know is true. There could be some enticing energy today, especially with this moon on Neptune, especially with the moon squaring to the sun. And then the moon comes into Aries, we can definitely get a little bit more emotionally reactive, right? And like I said, towards the end of the day, it'll square Mercury. So this is one of those days where you have to really just hold fast, keep your ground, get grounded. Today will be a great day to ground, because the influences are coming. And we have to learn how to be able to, dance with these waves so we don't let them just come in and completely take over our body, completely take over the way that we want to move and want to act, and completely take over our mind. This is about being sound of heart, mind, and spirits and body, and like the mental as well. So yeah, interesting cards for sure. Interesting cards for sure. That's going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful Tuesday. I will see you all on the next astrology forecast. Peace.